Around Bay YouTube, it is Charles here, and I am sitting here on my living room floor doing my last workout of 2025. And I figure I'd take a little time to reflect in between sets and talk about 2025. It has been an up and down year, but a better than worse year for me. I have had dealings with my disabilities and frustrations with that, and the depression that comes along with that, and the symptoms of said depression. But I've also had a lot of consistency in 2025. A few years ago, I started working out 6 days a week. I would say there's maybe 4 to 5 weeks where I only do 5 because I literally can't stand up out of bed. But, I put in the effort and I'm consistent. And even when I was able-bodied before the work injury that made me permanently disabled, I was not this active as far as exercise and eating better. Not really traditional diet per se, because weight loss wasn't my goal. My goal was the reversal of my diabetes and the extension of my mobility, which I did do. I have the A1C of a non-diabetic person. And yeah, I am 20 pounds down from last year and close to 90 pounds down from my maximum weight. Your boy was big after I got disabled. I was real big. I'm still big, but I was real big back in the day. But, it comes down to this cutting out processed sugars. I didn't have no processed sugars for about maybe 3 to 4 years. And now that my A1C is good, I'll have a pack of M&Ms maybe once a week. But other than that, I don't use refined sugars. I limit my carbs. And when I do have a carb-heavy meal, I will prepare it all myself. So I don't do fast food at all. I cut and fry or bake my potatoes. I even grind my own meat when I have a hamburger. And that's just that's a way you can really keep track of what you're putting in your body and make sure you're not getting unwanted mysteries going in. And like I said, that has helped me get to a point to where I started off years ago just training upper body because of my injuries in my leg. And so I did non-load bearing stuff with dumbbells, seated stuff, laying down stuff. And through just getting movement, getting that movement in me and getting used to a routine, I developed strength that kind of worked its way down. I started getting stronger in my upper body, and then do another set here real quick. But that strength started going throughout my entire body. And as I lost weight, I gained capabilities. And when I first started, I would get stuck on my floor because I didn't have the core strength to get myself up without my legs. But one day I had a fall and I went to get up from the floor. And I noticed I was able to sit up using my abdominals without even thinking about it. And so I laid back down and I sat up again. And now I do sit-ups as part of a full routine weekly. It's just something I do now, which I didn't even do sit-ups before I got injured. And as weight started coming down and strength started building, I was able to develop a system to use my upper body and my core to get up from the floor by myself, one leg, no pain, which was a dream for me. I was really excited about that because that meant that I was going to have more independence longer. And this summer, I got a hold of this guy, this underdesk peddler because I don't have room for a full bike, and I don't have the leg strength to use a treadmill. So I started pedaling on that thing, and it started with I could go 5 minutes before the pain was unbearable. But then I could go 10 minutes before the pain was unbearable. And then I started integrating comic book reading into it, and I could get through 2 books before the pain made me stop. Then 3 books. And that got to a point to where for a while I was doing 30-minute sessions post-workout on the peddler daily. And the 30-minute sessions, another rep break here. I'm doing shoulder day if you're wondering. But those 30-minute sessions turned to 40-minute sessions. And long story short, where I'm at now on the post-lifting cycling is I would do at least an hour a day. And I've gotten up to over 2 hours per day of pedaling. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I've done a lot of research. I'm always trying to research exercise and see how I can make things more effective. And all the science says that if you're going more than an hour per day on cardio, you're kind of, it loses its effectiveness. But I don't want to say loses, of course you gain strength, but I mean for the minimum weight loss requirements, an hour a day is more than enough. But on days when I can go further, I like to go further because I'm not able to stand up, I'm not able to work, I'm not able to do a lot of things. And so if I can go a little bit harder on my exercise, that gives me a little bit more confidence. But I do have to also keep in mind pain and making sure that I have enough pain-free movement to get me through the rest of the day. But to go from, when I got injured at 30, I became very sedentary. I quit caring about life. I fell into a deep depression. So to go from that to now, I'm working out minimum 2 hours, combined dumbbells and cardio, to 4 hours, 6 days a week. That's big for me. And it didn't start with some grand New Year's resolution. I gave up on resolutions. But last year I made one resolution. And that resolution was to be the same motherfucker I was that day, New Year's Eve 2024. Be that same cat in the 2025 and in the 2026. Because I realized that all work equals progression. And I was doing the work. At New Year's Eve 2024, the gym wasn't a fad for me. It was something I had built into my routine for a couple of years at that point. Eating healthy wasn't a fad for me. It was something I had to do, frankly, to live with diabetes. The YouTube channel. I've been growing the YouTube channel and improving in that. All this stuff I was doing was positive. And instead of making some grand plan that I would get frustrated and burn out on and achieve nothing, I knew that if I stuck to the same shit that I was doing, that I was going to see results. And from 10 months ago, I've dropped 20 pounds. And that was before I started incorporating cardio. So it looks like this year you're going to be seeing a little bit less of me as far as the weight goes. And that didn't come from a grand resolution or a grand plan or something grandiose. It just came from me being the same motherfucker I've been and sticking to it every day. And then building on that every day a little bit at a time. 10 years ago, during the worst part of my journey, when I was heaviest, and when I was most depressed and when I was the most sedentary. If you would have told me that I would spend the first few hours every day lifting and doing cardio at the age of 47, I would have called you a damn lie. But that's where I am. And it didn't start with me waking up one day and saying, okay, I'm going to hit it hard and I'm going to do all this and start it one lift at a time. I didn't start with these big 40 pounders. I started with a couple of 20 pounders, then 25 pounders, a couple of 15s, a couple of 10s, a couple of 30s, 35s, 40s. Now I have 60s. I have a weight bench. I have a yoga mat. I have the peddler. All that didn't come in on January 1st, 2025. It comes in day by day, putting in the work, putting in the effort, putting in the commitment. When I first bought these things, these 40s, I had trouble bench pressing them. Now on the bench press, I can throw these things around probably 80 times per set. So I had to get heavier dumbbells to bench press with. I couldn't shoulder press them, couldn't do shoulder rows with them. And that strength, again, didn't come from one resolution, one grand plan. It came from every day trying, learning, and improving. And all that started not with a big mental breakthrough, but with years of commitment to therapy and antidepressants and constantly trying to work on my mental health, learning what triggers my mental health, learning how I could support my mental health, learning how I could repair and manage the chemical imbalance caused by depression that's in my head, learning how to recognize signs of a depressive episode. And I didn't get all of these tools from my first therapy session. It's day after day after day, meeting after meeting after meeting, day of exercise after day of exercise, piece by piece, pound by pound. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, if I would have kept living the way I was, I wouldn't be here today. But through all that, I was able to get my health turned back around. I was off the cigarettes, which I think was the best thing that happened to me, because I got off the cigarettes, I think it was the summer of 2019, and I caught COVID when it first hit. And I barely made it, but I'm 100% for sure that if I was smoking when I had COVID, y'all wouldn't have seen me. And, you know, and if it wasn't the COVID, it would have been the diabetes and the very, very heavy weight. The boy was once 400 pounds. And it's, you know, I am a few months away from being in the 200s. So, and who knows what 2026 will bring. But I know whatever it brings, I am prepared for. Not because I made it or I'm making some grand resolution. My resolution is to be the same motherfucker in 2026 that I was in 2025 and 2024 and even 2023, because that guy is getting better by better, bit by bit, in multiple areas of my life. And who knows, now that, you know, I am getting a little bit more health, a little bit more mobility, I can start refocusing on music and start improving my skills again in music. That was the biggest part of my life. up until the pandemic, and then when the pandemic hit, it killed the local scene. And when things got opened back up, I wasn't in performance shape anymore. I gotten out of the habit of leaving my house and performing. And so I still have the musical skills. I didn't have the physical ability or the mental fortitude because COVID was traumatic. But now I'm mentally strong, I'm physically stronger, I have a lot more stamina, and by the time summer comes around, I'm going to be a little bit lighter. And so maybe this is the summer that the Charles Ledbetter Trio gets back out there and starts playing gigs. You know, maybe I can talk my old band leader back into booking more stuff with them. And I'm definitely going to start getting my chops back up on guitar and bass and work on improving my piano skills as well. Maybe my drumming, but I don't know. The only time I really drum is when I record my own stuff here in the house. But, man, I think I'm going to call this video a day. I've only been 2 exercises into my routine, rambling. But I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling discouraged or if you want to set a resolution, don't make it big. Focus on a small thing you can do every day and commit to doing it no matter the results. Because I think, and this is one thing that I learned in my life, I'm going to leave you with this. This is the most important part of the video, if you ask me. But so much of what we do is results-based. And people, if they work out and they don't see results on a scale, they quit. If they start a business and they don't see instant money, they quit. If they start playing music and they don't start getting booked and they don't start making good money right off the bat, they quit. But for the first few years of my workouts, doing them every day, I didn't even own a scale. I never checked the scale. I didn't care about the scale. And the fact is that if I lost or gained 5 pounds, it wasn't going to affect what I do. The work that I was doing was the mission. It was the goal. And so since my goal was not rewards-based, I didn't quit when the rewards didn't come. But as I always say, 1 + 1 always equals 2. So if you do work, you're going to see results. But don't base your activity solely on results. So y'all be easy, and I'll see you next time. Stay tuned to this channel for more nerd content. Comic book reviews. I'm going to do about 3 or 4 reviews today of books I read. I just haven't sat down and recorded the reviews yet. And there's some action figure unboxings coming this month. And I think I'm going to maybe make 1 new goal. I have my other channel, the Chronic Crippled Collector channel, which is supposed to be about chronic pain advocacy, and I've kind of let that channel go abandoned, so I think I will link that channel up here. And maybe my goal will be to be more consistent posting over there, talking about my journey of being disabled and living with disabilities. But y'all be easy and Happy New Year.